What truly makes a monster? Is it, the sharp fangs and the supernatural powers? Or is it maybe something far more unsettling hidden deep within us?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Today we're plunging into a world where that gets brutally explored. We're taking a deep dive into Shiki.
Right, the acclaimed anime and novel. And it looks like a vampire story on the surface, a really chilling one.
But our mission here is to show you how Shiki is actually this meticulous deconstruction of humanity, of community, of morality itself.
Exactly. Shiki uses its supernatural stuff so masterfully. Not just for scares, no. It's like a narrative scalpel, peeling back the layers of what we think we know about good and evil.
Yeah, it really is. We've drawn from a lot of detailed analysis of the anime, looked into its unique blend of folklore.
And how its very specific rules for these creatures actually drive the big philosophical questions.
Absolutely. So prepare for some maybe surprising insights, some aha moments that might really challenge your assumptions about who the real monsters are in this story.
It's definitely not just about creatures of the night. It's about the darkness we find when we look inwards. So to really get Shiki's impact, we first need to break down what these corpse demons actually are. How their existence twists this whole village.
Right. And these beings, they're complex. Even their names show that tension. You have Sishin Moroi, the character, who coins this literary term Shiki.
Corpse demon. Sounds almost academic, doesn't it?
It does. But then you contrast that with what the local villagers call them, rooted in their own folklore.
Ukiagari.
Ukiagari, yeah. The risen dead. And that highlights this huge gap, right, between this external intellectual idea and the terrifying local reality of what's happening.
Okay, so fundamentally, what are they?
Well, at their core, Shiki are reanimated humans. Someone gets bitten, dies 4 or 5 days later, then rises.
Clinically dead, though.
Completely. No heartbeat, no breathing. They're sustained purely by human blood. And they have these sharp, retractable fangs.
But they're strong.
Oh, yeah. Superhuman strength. And they regenerate incredibly fast. Most wounds just heal almost instantly.
Okay, and they're feeding. It's not like a quick vampire bite we often see.
No, it's really insidious. There's this overwhelming instinctual hunger for blood. And for many of the newly risen Shikis who still have their memories, their human consciousness.
That must be agony.
Exactly. Imagine remembering your life, your family, while being driven by this monstrous need.
And the slow feeding is crucial to the plot early on.
Absolutely key. They drain a victim over several nights, causes symptoms like severe anemia, lethargy. It looks like an illness.
Which lets the truth stay hidden.
Right. It mimics an epidemic perfectly, plays right into the villagers' skepticism and Dr. Azaki's initial scientific viewpoint. He's looking for a disease.
And there's this darker angle, too, that maybe they could coexist.
There's a hint, yeah, that maybe non-lethal feeding is possible. But the Kyoto Shikis, the original Shiki, they explicitly reject that. They want total conversion of the village, no compromise.
That's grim. And they have other powers, too, like mind control.
Sort of. A powerful hypnotic influence on their victims. Compels obedience.
And it works psychologically, too. The dreams.
Yes. Like Megumi Shimizu haunting Natsuno in his mind. That's long before he even fully accepts what she is. It's this early chilling sign of psychological warfare.
They sound almost unbeatable.
Oh.
But they must have weaknesses.
Oh, they do. Critical ones. The biggest is sunlight. Direct exposure burns them up, they disintegrate. So strictly nocturnal. They're forced into this deep sleep during the day.
And the invitation rule. That's a classic.
A classic, and used so cleverly here. They cannot enter a private home without an explicit invitation.
Which in a place like Sotoba.
Exactly. An insular, trusting village where hospitality is everything. It weaponizes their own politeness. Their decency becomes their vulnerability. It's brilliant in a horrifying way.
And the others, religious symbols.
Yep. Intense, instinctive fear of sacred items, talismans, crosses, holy ground like temples and shrines. They just can't handle them.
But how do you kill them for good?
Well, that's what Dr. Azaki figures out through some truly horrific means.
Right, the experimentation.
Yeah. He discovers the scientific methods. Stake the heart, decapitation, or destroying the brain. Grim, but effective.
Okay, so this whole setup, this monster mythos, it's not pulled out of thin air. It's weaving things together.
Absolutely. Shiki masterfully blends deep Japanese folklore with classic Western horror tropes. And the village itself, Sotoba, is key.
It's got this connection to death already.
Oh, deeply. The village is literally surrounded by death. Its whole economy is based on making grave markers Sotoba hence the name and coffins.
Wow.
And this intimacy with death leads to a crucial practice, burial. In modern Japan, cremation is common, but Sotoba still buries its dead.
And that's important because
Because burial is a prerequisite for a Shiki to rise. If they were cremated, game over. So the village's own tradition, its cultural identity, is the very thing that makes it vulnerable.
that's, bleak irony doesn't even cover it.
And they already have this local legend, right? The Okiagari. So when things start happening, there's this terrifying pre-existing framework for them to eventually understand it. Like a story coming true.
Let's break down the name Shiki again. Shi and Ki.
Right. She means corpse. Ki or Oni means demon or ogre. This immediately sets them apart from, say, Yurei.
Which are more like ghosts.
Yeah.
Ethereal.
Exactly. Often mournful, tied to unfinished business. Shiki are physical, monstrous. It connects them to the Oni of classic Japanese legends, those fearsome, often cannibalistic figures.
And you mentioned maybe a play on Shinigami.
Yeah, a possible deliberate kind of visceral play. Shinigami are death gods, often guides, but Shiki aren't guiding anyone. They're physical predators of the living. It twists that concept.
Now, what about influences from outside Japan? The Jianshi.
Ah, yes, the Chinese jiangshi or kyonshi in Japanese. Strong parallels. Both are reanimated corpses, active at night, often linked to improper burial.
But there's a big difference.
A huge difference. Traditional jiangshi are often depicted as mindless, hopping corpses, maybe controlled by Taoist priests sometimes. But Shiki, they are fully sentient.
They remember everything.
Everything. Their memories, personalities, complex thoughts. And that changes everything. The horror isn't just a mindless monster. It's a tragic thinking predator. It makes you ask, what's the horror of a monster that knows it used to be human while it kills? It's deeply unsettling.
And then there's the obvious Western vampire connection.
Oh, absolutely. Shiki wears its influences on its sleeve. Clear nods to Stoker's Dracula, Stephen King's Salem's Lot.
The weaknesses are straight out of that playbook.
Sunlight, the invitation rule, stake through the heart. They're all
Even visually, right? The Kirishiki mansion.
Exactly. They don't move into an old Japanese house. They build this grand European-style mansion that literally looms over the traditional village.
A symbol.
A very potent symbol. It represents this foreign, invasive force. The Shiki themselves become this allegory for maybe cultural invasion, an outside threat consuming a traditional society from within.
Which leads us to something even more complex. Something that really messes with the us versus them idea. The Jinru.
Ah, the Jinru, the werewolf, introduced as this rare, evolved form of Shiki.
But not actually werewolves.
No, the name's deliberately misleading. It's kind of an ironic nod to the Western monster pairings, maybe. But they're an advanced Shiki.
And they've overcome the main weaknesses.
Pretty much all of them. Sunlight doesn't harm them. Invitation rule doesn't apply. They can be active day or night.
Do they still need blood?
They still crave it, yes.
Yeah.
It seems to enhance their abilities, but crucially, they can survive on normal food. That is a massive evolutionary leap. It changes the whole dynamic.
And their transformation is different too.
Yeah, very different. They don't die and rise again like the standard Shiki. It's described as a continuous, agonizing evolution directly from human to Jinru.
Which brings us to Natsuno Yuki, his transformation in the anime. It's a big deal.
Huge deal. A major departure from the novel, and absolutely pivotal to the anime's plot and themes. He becomes this character stuck in a true liminal space.
Between human and monster.
Exactly. Neither fully one nor the other, and his existence just blows up any easy definitions.
How does a being like that complicate things? What does it force you, the viewer, to confront about identity?
Well, Natsuno embodies that central moral ambiguity perfectly. Who do you root for? Why? He forces those questions constantly.
So these rules, these different types of Shiki, they're not just lore for lore's sake. They shape the whole story.
Oh, completely. It's a true narrative symbiosis. Think about how the story starts.
As a medical mystery.
Right. A slow burn. Your perspective as the viewer is initially tied to Dr. Toshio Ozaki. He's a man of science, looking for a rational cause for all these deaths.
And the Shiki rules feed right into that.
Perfectly calibrated, nocturnal activity, the slow draining over days, causing anemia-like symptoms.
Yeah.
It all points to an epidemic. The supernatural truth stays hidden, helped along by the villagers' own skepticism. Things like that don't happen here.
Until they can't deny it anymore. Natsuno's journey is key there.
Yeah, Natsuno gets hit personally. He's tormented by the risen Megumi. His friend Toru is attacked. He's forced to confront the supernatural reality much earlier. And out of desperation, he starts looking into folklore for answers, for ways to fight back.
But the real turning point for the village comes from Dr. Ozaki, doesn't it? And it's brutal.
It is. His decision to capture and vivisect his own wife, Kyoko, after she rises. I mean, that's a point of no return.
Abandoning all ethics for knowledge.
Utterly. A ruthless pursuit of understanding the enemy no matter the cost. It raises huge questions about what lengths are justified for survival, doesn't it?
And then he uses that knowledge.
Weaponizes it. The public execution of Chizuru Kirishiki at the village festival, in front of everyone.
Horrifying.
A horrifying, calculated act. But it shatters the denial. It galvanizes the terrified villagers into this unified, vengeful force. That's the moment the war truly begins.
So the story shifts from mystery and horror
to brutal war story. The second half is relentless. It's the villagers applying Ozaki's grim knowledge, hunting the Shiki systematically, viciously.
But it doesn't end well for anyone.
No, there's no clean victory. It culminates in mutual destruction. Sotoba burns. The whole community is consumed by fire, leaving just ruins and trauma.
It's such a chilling look at how a community can radicalize.
Absolutely. How an existential threat can lead you to destroy the very thing you're trying to protect: your home, your humanity.
Okay, this leads us right into the heart of it. The character arcs and how they deconstruct humanity. Let's start with Dr. Toshio Ozaki again.
Toshio. He starts as this dedicated village doctor, grounded in science, but the Shiki just dismantle his entire worldview.
And he adapts horrifically.
He adapts into this utilitarian nightmare. He comes to believe any action, no matter how monstrous itself, is justified if it leads to survival. The experiment on his wife is the big turning point.
He becomes a general, almost.
Yeah, by the end, he's like a military commander, coldly orchestrating a massacre. He mirrors the ruthlessness he was fighting against.
Then there's Seishin Moroi, the priest. Toshio is opposite in many ways.
His philosophical antithesis definitely represents faith, empathy, but he feels alienated from his own community even before the Shiki.
And his journey goes in a completely different direction.
He connects with Tsunako, the Shiki leader. He sees them not just as evil, but as abandoned by God, lost beings.
And he ultimately chooses their side.
He does. Witnessing the sheer brutality of the human counterattack, he makes a conscious choice. He rejects humanity, becomes a Jinru himself to protect Tsunako.
That's a massive choice. It challenges everything about loyalty.
It really does. It asks, can empathy, can moral obligation actually transcend species? Is loyalty just tribalism?
And Natsuno Yuki, the outsider turned reluctant hero.
Starts off hating Sotoba, wants to leave, but he's drawn in, forced to fight for his friends, and his transformation into a Jinru.
Yeah.
It puts him in that impossible place we talked about.
A monster hunting monsters.
Driven by a very human sense of justice, yeah, but belonging nowhere.
His ending is bleak.
Utterly bleak, a nihilistic sacrifice. He destroys himself along with Tatsumi, the main Shiki enforcer. It's like he decides he can't live as either human or monster in this broken world, so he just opts out. Devastating.
And finally, Tsunako Kirishiki, the little girl who started it all.
The ancient antagonist, but presented with such sympathy, trapped for over a century in a child's body. Cursed with this need to kill, this loneliness.
But her goal is almost understandable.
On a human level, yes. She yearns for family, for belonging, for a place where her kind can live without fear. This village of the undead.
It's a paradox.
A total paradox. A victim whose own suffering has turned her into this massive predator. She embodies that tragic cycle of violence the show explores so well.
So, pulling it all together, what are the core themes Shiki leaves us with?
Well, first, definitely the fragility of community, that invitation rule. It poisons trust from the inside out. Families turn on each other, mass hysteria takes over. It shows how easily social bonds just dissolve into paranoid violence.
And then the big one, survival versus humanity.
Yeah, that central question. Is being human, having compassion, ethics, is that a luxury you can't afford when your life is on the line?
Both sides seem to abandon it.
They do. Both Shiki and humans ditch their principles for survival. And the show makes you look at the human counterattacks. Villagers using farm tools as weapons, laughing during torture.
It's arguably more disturbing than the Shiki feeding.
Sometimes, yeah. It really suggests monstrosity isn't about what you are, but what you do. That capacity for cruelty, it's in everyone.
You mentioned the theological theme too, abandoned by God.
Right. Sunako feels this deeply, sees the Shiki as cursed, stuck between worlds. And Seishin picks up on this, using that Cain and Abel allegory. It frames the conflict as these two forsaken groups locked in a pointless, violent cycle, each believing they're justified.
And finally, it's all kind of futile.
There's this undercurrent of cosmic futility, yeah. The Shiki's whole method of reproduction, killing their only food source to make more of themselves, it's inherently unsustainable.
They're doomed from the start.
Logically, yes. Their violent struggle, all the suffering they cause and endure, it's ultimately for a goal that guarantees their own extinction. It's tragic and self-defeating.
So wrapping up this deep dive then, it's clear Shiki is way more than just a monster story.
Oh, much more. The creatures themselves, these complex Shiki blending Japanese folklore and Western tropes, they're meticulously designed, but they're really a catalyst.
A catalyst to deconstruct what? Community, humanity itself.
Both. The real horror isn't just the fanged creature lurking outside, it's the reflection Shiki holds up to us.
That capacity for monstrousness is inside.
That capacity for dehumanization, for brutal violence, for abandoning your morals just to survive, it's not some external evil. It's a potential within all of us.
The Shiki didn't bring evil to Sotoba.
They just woke up the monster that was already sleeping there.
And the ending. Smoking ruins, a few traumatized survivors from both sides, just carrying their conflict somewhere else, doesn't offer easy answers.
Not at all. It leaves you with really haunting questions about human nature.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. Where does that razor's edge between humanity and monstrosity really lie?
And how easily could any of us or our own communities cross it when pushed? The legacy of Sotoba, it's a chilling reminder of just how fragile that line is.